And we did say a few months ago that we were going to do this video. It's just taken us a little while. So thank you to those of you who've submitted questions.
Yeah,
We've gathered the questions. We might not be able to answer all of them in this session, but we plan on doing more, just so that this one's not super long and that this one doesn't run the risk of being kind of boring.
Never.
Then we also decided to do a challenge where we answer the questions with pinched cheeks. So hope that you enjoy. Let's start with the first question, shall we? What are your favorite aspects of the UK? And this question comes from I Love Chocolates. Who wants to go first?
I'll go first. Oh yeah, you go for it.
What's your favorite?
Sorry.
What is your favorite things about the UK?
Play with you. I like how my school and my friends. I like the UK. It's fun.
And Alfie, anything else you want to add? I like country walks, which we do a lot of here. When we first moved here, I was like, why is everybody always asking if we want to go on a walk? Like, everyone was going on walks. And now I get it. It's really nice because it's beautiful countryside. Even walking around more of a city, there's lots of green space. In London, there's tons of green space, so it's always nice to just get out, be outside, go for a walk.
So I'm enjoying being in the UK because it's obviously closer to my family. It's been a long time that I lived overseas and been quite a long way away from my parents, from my brother and sister-in-law and nieces. I don't have a huge family, so it's nice to be close to them. And you know, even though unfortunately due to coronavirus we're not been able to see very much of them over the last year or so, but before then it was great. So that's wonderful. I'm also loving the fact that my kids are growing up being exposed to, you know, British culture and you know, the country where I'm from, because again we're obviously living overseas in Hong Kong and we lived in the US before then. So whilst that might happen again, that we go overseas, it's nice that they at least have some time growing up in the UK, so I'm loving that.
However, I will say I'm still waiting for their British accents to blossom.
I don't have a British accent.
I mean, this is one of the perks of living here. Come on. I can only read their children's stories with a faux British accent for so long.
Well, you know, I think after lockdown the intensive elocution lessons will start.
It is surprising though. I thought for sure, at least, I mean, this one would have more of an accent, but he fights it. And she's always fought it, so hence, even though she's grown up with British education since she was barely 3, maybe even 2, she sounds as American as...
But we have been here, what, 2.5 years, and of that 2.5 years, 1 year has been predominantly in lockdown, just with you.
Just with me gabbing away. But most
oh yeah, that's it.
They hear a lot of my voice. It's nice to be around all these historical sites. We have those in the US, but here, I mean, it's a much older country, so it's easier to come across things such as, you know, walking in our village and seeing the church that was built in the Middle Ages, right? 10 something.
Well, 1068, yes.
Oh wow, do you remember the exact year?
I do.
And a follow-up question from I Love Chocolates is, how is the UK different from Hong Kong? Why said Hong Kong? Hong Kong.
Hong Kong.
Hong Kong. How is it different living here than it was for you in Hong Kong? You don't really remember. You were just a little baby boy. Lived in Hong Kong.
You were so tiny.
You were little, just in my baby Bjorn, going all over the city with your little legs swinging. I think everyone knows Hong Kong for its dynamic nature. It has a very frenetic energy. But I think the major aspect of Hong Kong that's different than the UK is the convenience, because it's all pushed together on this very small area of land, so it's very easy, right?
Oh yeah, it's incredibly easy to get around and do anything, go anywhere that you might want to do, because you know, Hong Kong Island you can go around Hong Kong Island in just over an hour or a bit.
You have the hills that you can hike, you have the water right there, you have beaches, then you have the city life. It's
again all in close proximity to be able to go easy. So you know, back here in the UK, I mean, things are a little bit more spread out, but it's still very small compared to where you back in the US.
Yes, it's true. When I moved to Hong Kong,
she's still not quite worked that out. She was there for 5 years. It was very strange the way she used to refer to the Hong Kong and Hong Kong, she never learned the language. She never picked up the language.
I'm just trying to coin a new cool way to say it. Like when I lived in the Hong, Something that I miss is the social aspect. So many different restaurants, and the nightlife was always on and poppin', and you could go out any night and meet up with friends, and because it's literally take you like 5 minutes to get there, there was a lot of socializing happening all the time. Here it's a little harder, especially for us now. I mean, even outside of...
now it is against the law to socialize.
Yes, so, exactly. I think it's very unique to Hong Kong.
It is.
Maybe Singapore.
Yes.
Maybe Shanghai.
No, Shanghai's a bit more spread out.
Okay, well, I don't even know why I said Shanghai. I've never been there. This is a question for Alfie from Kate. If your stuffed animals could talk, what would they say? Your plushies, if they could talk, what would they say?
Plush.
Okay. Is that it? One would be like, blush. And then it would look back and be like, blush. This is a question for Stella from Kate. If there were no restrictions, like pretend COVID wasn't happening, and she could hop on a plane to visit the Wada Davies family, how would you spend your day together?
After she got here, I think I'd give her a snack, like some water or a fairy cake. And then I'd show her my gymnastics and teach her a move. And then we could go on a walk and go to my school and go to the park and do some other stuff.
That sounds good.
Sounds fun. Go.
From Kate. If you were a fart, what would you sound like?
Fart.
Well, a lot of control.
It's just like his poops, just go poop.
Peter's built a fire, blue skies outside.
I build fire. I go hunt.
I go hunt.
I'd like to see that.
Yeah. I go Tesco.
Yes, he's an excellent Tesco hunter. Can I just take
More
a minute
forager than hunter.
to give Peter props? He's actually really, really good in that department. Like to go to the shop and pick stuff up, and like he kind of just knows. He knows what we need. He never lets the gummy worms get low.
I know where sugar levels should be kept.
Yes.
So,
Can I ask you guys
I know
a
what
question?
level.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
If you could be a superhero, like, what would your name and what would your power and what would you look like? What would your suit look like?
So I've thought about this before. Maybe not all of those things, but I've thought about what if I could have a superpower, what it would be, and it would be that I could teleport. Because we've, in the last 7 years, been living so far away from family. You know, at different times, different families. 6 years.
Yeah, 6
That I would love to be able to just teleport and visit everyone. And when I wanted to teleport, I'd do the port snort, and I'd go, and then I'd teleport.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
My costume would be?
Yeah.
It would be a iridescent unitard with glittery streamers coming off the hood, like the head part of it, like a mane. Yeah.
I think mine would be that I'd have multiple eyes, which could also, so that I could watch multiple screens at one time, mainly for sport.
Nightmare.
Mainly for sport, so I could, watch the rugby and the football and the cricket all simultaneously, and all take it in and understand it simultaneously.
And like you have eyes.
And
that
just
would
so
be
you know,
superpower.
if that were the case, the portal to wherever you were would never be open.
I think my costume would be a vintage England football shell suit. I think that'd be nice. There's been some nice ones over the years,
Extra short shorts.
which I think.
Yeah.
No, the full shell suit, so the tracksuit. Maybe I could have shorts in summer. And I'm trying to think about my name.
Your name would be banned from this house forever.
But I don't get it. You guys are just super people. You're not superheroes.
Oh, because we have to be able to help others. Like if I saw that there was like an earthquake.
You could hold on to them and teleport somewhere.
Yes.
So what is Daddy gonna do?
Keep people updated on all the sports. I think I would be teletext.
And I'm teleporte.
But I'm more Teletubby at the moment.
This is a question that we've gotten a lot, so from several people, and it's how did we meet? I attended a convention in Vegas, and it happened to be at Caesar's Palace. Caesar's Palace is where Peter was working at the time. He was the director of luxury hotel services. I was there with my boss and some colleagues, and they kept calling me that night, telling me to come out, meet them, play beer pong. And to be honest with you, I was not in the mood. I think I'd just come off like a bad dating experience, or I don't know what it was, but I was just like, nah, I just want to go to bed. I was being really like boring. And they convinced me, so I was like, okay, fine. And I trudged across Las Vegas Boulevard to a dive bar that was called O'Shea's. It's not there anymore, sadly, or it's been like remodeled. It
has been.
But it was there forever, and it was known as kind of the place you could go to get cheap, even cheaper drinks. And I went over there, and they were my colleagues were playing beer pong. I noticed there was a beer pong table next to them where two gentlemen were extremely giddy and inebriated. I
would just say that all my moons were aligned that night. It is kind of quite a random story how I ended up in O'Shea's, because I in turn had been out for dinner with a friend of a very good friend of mine from here in the UK, and at the end of dinner this guy was desperate to go and play beer pong. I was new to beer pong. I didn't realise that you could play with quarters or halves of pitchers of beer. We're just playing with full pitchers of beer per game, and as not being very good at it, I was being forced to drink considerable amounts. But I can tell you, I sobered up pretty quickly. He was playing beer pong next to our beer pong table. I wasn't really playing, I was just kind of watching. And then we played blackjack for a little while, and then we all headed back to Caesar's Palace. And as we were crossing Las Vegas Boulevard, I just remember Peter coming up to me, and I was in a bad mood that night. So I was also, I was in Vegas, and I was like, I'm not gonna do this Vegas thing, I'm here for work. I wasn't about to meet a guy in Vegas. So I was walking across Las Vegas Boulevard, and he comes up to me and, hello, my name's Peter. And this was a little bit rude of me, but I just kept walking, and I looked at him and I said, oh, Charlie bit my finger. And I had no idea about that. I didn't think. For those of you that don't know what that is, in 2010, America went crazy for this video of them, like the little one biting. You can go on YouTube. Yeah. So then he did the whole kind of Hugh Grantish thing about it. I said, oh, are you from England? And he said, I was born in London, but then I actually grew up in Hong Kong. Da, 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 da. So I just basically told her the truth. He was telling me his whole life story. As we walked over to Caesar's Palace. When you go to Vegas, like you don't tend to like open yourself up to meeting someone to date, right? And I'd been to Vegas, I can't even tell you how many times with friends and whatever. And when guys approach you in Vegas, if you're not in the mood to go out and go to clubs and like do the Vegas thing, then it's just sort of like, meh. I'm just trying to explain to you that I wasn't. Are you worried that you feel it made me not like you? I would not normally act kind of dismissive like that, but it was the circumstance. It was like Vegas, a drunk guy that I just saw downing like pints of beer approaching me. Well, all I can say is it went way over my head. We all ended up at Cleopatra's Barge, which is this random place inside Caesar's Palace, like a lounge. It was the only place open. It was a Monday night, so yeah. So then we all were on the dance floor, like, dancing, shaking it, and Pete just grabbed me and just started dipping, like dipping me. Like there was I need to do something different. Like you've never seen, like you would have been, your superhero name would have been the Dipper. Because it was just like, not just like dipping, but like dipping and then doing like a whole rotation. Like, do you know what I mean? Like clockwise and then counterclockwise, and my hair was just whipping. So it was pretty dramatic, and it made a statement. Then after that we ended up at Surrender. The encore. This is what sealed the deal. This is what made me go, oh, this guy is different, and I'm interested. We were out on the dance floor, and he was already being charming. Like I had already thought he was charming. He was sweet, and he was a gentleman. Then, out on the dance floor, I still had my purse because I didn't come out thinking I was going out and I was going to be on the dance floor. So he kindly just grabbed my purse and he put it on his shoulder, and we danced, and he held my purse on the dance floor. He did not care. And I loved that so much about him, the confidence. Not that anyone should care, but it just, a lot of people care when they shouldn't about things like that, and he didn't care. So that was really sweet, and I just thought, oh my gosh, I've not met a guy like this in ages, or if ever. Coming from LA and having dated all kinds of people in LA, it just was so refreshing, and yeah, definitely piqued my interest. My interest was already piqued. Then we exchanged numbers. We text messaged, and at some point thereafter he came to LA because he wanted to see LA. He'd been to LA since he was a little kid. And then I went back up to Vegas to visit him 2 or 3 weeks later. It was on, like beer pong.
It's on.
Yeah.
Like beer pong.
So that's it. We met. It was I guess you would call it a whirlwind romance. Some called it a green card attempt. But it really in no way was.
How long do you have to play that one out?
As much as I that night did not want to meet anybody and I wanted to just be in my room watching pay-per-view, he changed my mind and here we are.
Without wanting to sound too sappy, when I mean this in all sincerity, that when I did see you for the first time, it was totally different to how I'd ever seen it before. I mean that.
Okay, so this next question is for Stella. It's from Kashika, and it is about one of your most favorite things in the world right now. What is your favorite color in Among Us?
Purple.
Purple.
I love purple.
And I need to show you when you totally got dressed up for the time you were purple
I was purple.
in Among Us.
Yes.
It was really good and so cute.
Do you tend to be more successful when you're purple
Yeah.
in Among Us?
So that's your lucky Among Us color.
Yeah, that's my lucky Among
good.
Us.
Cool, cool. Kashka, you still have to play with her, don't you? Okay, this question is from Rico. Why did we choose this village that we're living in now? You know, the village chose us.
They don't know that yet, but they did.
No, so what happened is that we knew we were going to move out of London. At the time, we were both independent contractors, freelancers, so I thought, why are we living in London, paying London prices, basically, when we don't need to be doing that? We were lucky enough to spend a lot of time like living right in London, so that was fantastic. And not to say that we won't ever do that again, but we also thought, well, we don't know how long we'll be in the UK, so maybe we've always heard like you need the English countryside experience, so it just sounded really good to us. I thought Bath would be a good place because his parents lived there for many years and I was able to visit. It's gorgeous.
Although it would have been a bit strange had them having lived there for so long and then moved to London and then moved to Bath. So,
but it's a gorgeous city if you've ever been there, and it's a city. Like there's a lot going on there. It's not huge, but it's a city.
Is it classified as a city?
Or is it a town?
It's a good question because it has an abbey, not a cathedral.
Oh, yeah.
I'm getting technical here, I know, but
Yeah.
strictly speaking, a city needs to have a cathedral.
Well,
But
for me, it's
Bath is a large town, city. We need to do research.
okay. Peter really needs to know if it's a town or a city. While you were doing that, I'll explain how we ended up here. Because we don't know how many years we'll be in the UK, we're renting for now. And there just weren't a lot of rentals coming up in Bath. Or anytime we found something that we really liked, it would get snatched up immediately. There just wasn't a lot on the market because it was during the pandemic.
It's a city.
Oh,
Yeah.
there you go, city.
Doesn't have any trees.
Little side note,
Doesn't have any trees.
Peter's parents, Richard and Leslie, used to volunteer at the Abbey, right? For years and years, which I think is cool. That's cool. So if you ever were in Bath when they were there and you went into the Abbey to take a look around, you could have been speaking to them. They could have given you the tour and like answered all your questions about the Abbey. Back to this village. So then I got on Rightmove, and Rightmove is this site where it basically lists all the rentals and all the houses for sale. I just started to look in all the places coming back towards London. I found this spot in this charming village by the Thames, and the pictures looked great. And I happened to mention it to Peter's mom, and she was like, oh yes, I know this village, it's lovely, it's gorgeous, it's not far from where she grew up. And she was like, you should go take a look. So we hopped on a train, and we came out here, and the minute we stepped off the train, we were kind of sold. I mean, it was pretty charming. As soon as we walked out of the train station, there were people on horseback just kind of like trotting by us with a big smile.
Shutters were opening and ladies with pies were kind of opening up, and there were blackbirds tweeting, well, not blackbirds, whatever.
Yeah.
Birds tweeting.
Just birds and animals, squirrels, everything.
Imagine, what's the name of Cinderella and the Seven Dwarfs.
But there were no
Cinderella and the Seven Dwarfs.
So we came out, we saw this house. It's just such like a lovely, charming house. And it's near the river, and everyone was so friendly and so nice. And then after we saw this place, we went down to walk down to the river. We went to this lovely little restaurant that you often see in our vlogs. And we were just looking around going, how could you not want to live here? But I did say to Peter, I looked at him and I said, what about what happens in the winter when the days are very short and it's dark all the time and it's raining and I feel like I can't go anywhere? That worries me. We saw some other places that were great as well. And then we kept coming back to this. It's
a beautiful place. It's still in reasonable proximity to London, so 45 minutes on train, which is also not too far from where my parents and my brothers and his family are, so it was good to be close to them.
We thought it would be nice for the kids all the space to roam in, and that has been absolutely fantastic. It's just a really nice village, a good quality of life, and so far so good.
So I think we're going to cut it off there. We've got some more which I think we'll use in another Q&A in the future.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your questions, and thank you for your interest. I mean, I hope it was kind of interesting. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for your likes and your comments and all your support. We so appreciate all of you, and we will see you very soon.
Bye.
Bye.